Join me tonight as I tell the story of High Park, where something sinister awakened and altered my life forever. High Park had always been my refuge from the relentless noise of Toronto. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long, ominous shadows, the park felt different. An unsettling silence enveloped the area, thick and suffocating, as if the very air was holding its breath, waiting for something terrible to happen. I walked the familiar path, the crunch of leaves underfoot the only sound. The trees seemed to close in around me, their gnarled branches like skeletal hands reaching out. The usual tranquility was replaced by an eerie sense of dread. Every rustle of leaves, every distant crack of a branch sent a chill down my spine. As I approached Grenadier Pond, the whispers began. Faint at first, but growing louder, more insistent. My heart pounded in my chest. The whispers seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere all at once. "Who's there?" I called out, my voice trembling, barely rising above a whisper. Silence. Then a cold gust of wind swept past me, chilling me to the bone. I turned, scanning the darkened path behind me, but there was nothing. Just shadows and silence. I tried to shake off the feeling of unease. "It's just the wind," I muttered, though the words felt hollow. Deep down, I knew it was something more. Determined to shake off the growing fear, I ventured deeper into the park. The trees loomed larger, their branches intertwining to form a dense canopy that blocked out the remaining light. The whispers followed me, growing louder, more distinct. I could almost make out words, pleas, and cries. My steps quickened, my breath coming in short, ragged gasps. The temperature dropped sharply, my breath visible in the frosty air. I stopped, feeling an icy presence behind me. Slowly, I turned around. She was there, a translucent figure of a young girl standing a few feet away. Her eyes were hollow, filled with a sorrow that seemed to pierce my soul. Her dress fluttered in an unseen breeze, and her face was a mask of despair. I stumbled back, my heart racing. "No! This can't be real!" Her lips moved, forming silent words. Then as suddenly as she appeared, she vanished, leaving me trembling, my mind racing with questions. Who was she? Why was she haunting me? Sleep eluded me that night. The image of the ghostly girl haunted my thoughts, her sorrowful eyes imprinted on my mind. Desperate for answers, I spent hours scouring the internet. Finally, I stumbled upon an old news article that sent a shiver down my spine. Her name was Lucy. She was murdered in High Park 20 years ago, her life brutally cut short. The details were gruesome. A young girl, her future stolen, her death a mystery that remained unsolved. "Lucy, why are you haunting me?" The next night, I returned to High Park, driven by a mix of fear and determination. The park was even more foreboding in the darkness, the trees looming like silent sentinels. The whispers began almost immediately, growing louder as I ventured deeper. "Lucy, I know you're here. What do you want from me?" The wind picked up, carrying with it a faint, sorrowful whisper. "Help me, find peace." Her voice echoed in my mind, sending chills down my spine. I had to help her. She pointed towards a dense thicket, and despite my fear, I followed her indication. There, hidden from the path, I found a small, overgrown grave. This must be it, her final resting place. I knelt, brushing away the leaves and debris. My hand touched something cold and metallic. It was a small locket, tarnished with age. I opened it, revealing a picture of young Lucy and her family. "I'm so sorry, Lucy." Her ghostly figure stood beside me, her form slowly fading. She smiled faintly, tears in her eyes. "Thank you." With a final sorrowful look, she dissipated into the night, leaving me kneeling by the grave, the locket clutched in my hand. Determined to end the haunting once and for all, I delved deeper into Lucy's past. I discovered that she had been left unavenged, her killer never brought to justice. The more I learned, the more I understood her sorrow and anger. I returned to High Park, this time prepared for a confrontation. The park felt even more oppressive, the darkness thicker. I found myself at the same spot, near the grave. "Lucy, I'm here. Tell me what I need to do." Her ghost appeared again, more solid than before. The sorrow in her eyes was mixed with a glimmer of hope. "Find him. Bring him to justice." Her voice was clear, powerful. I felt a surge of determination. I spent days researching, following leads, until I uncovered the truth. Her killer was still alive, living in the shadows, thinking he had escaped justice. With the evidence I gathered, I went to the authorities. It took time, but eventually they reopened the case. The man was arrested, his past deeds brought to light. Justice, long overdue, was finally served. Feeling a sense of accomplishment, I returned to High Park once more. The first light of dawn broke over the park as I stood by Lucy's grave. There was a sense of calm in the air, a peace that had been missing for so long. Her ghost appeared one final time, but something was different. Her serene smile twisted into a sinister grin. Her eyes, once sorrowful, now glowed with a malevolent light. "You've done well," she hissed, her voice dripping with dark satisfaction. "Now your soul is mine." Panic gripped me.
"No, this isn't right."
Her laughter echoed through the park, chilling me to the bone. "Did you really think I was an innocent soul needing help? Fool. I am no victim. I am a dark spirit, and you've just completed my ritual. Now I am free to roam this world, thanks to you. The ground beneath me trembled, and shadows swirled around Lucy, growing darker and more menacing. I tried to back away, but my feet felt rooted to the spot. Why are you doing this? I gasped, my voice barely a whisper. Because, she said, her form growing more solid and terrifying, I need a new host. And you, my dear, have proven yourself worthy. With that, she lunged at me, her dark energy enveloping my body. I screamed, but no sound came out. The world around me faded to black. Days later, a new figure could be seen walking through High Park at dusk. To the casual observer, it was just another person enjoying a quiet evening stroll. But those who looked closer might notice something unsettling in their eyes, a flicker of something ancient and malevolent. The park, once a place of solace, had become a hunting ground for a dark spirit, now wearing the guise of its latest victim. And somewhere, deep within the recesses of this new host's mind, a small, terrified voice screamed, trapped forever in the shadows of High Park. One evening, unable to shake the lingering feeling of dread, I found myself standing before a mirror in my home. My reflection stared back at me, but something was off. The eyes looking back weren't mine. They were hollow, filled with a darkness that chilled me to the core. Suddenly the reflection shifted, and Lucy's malevolent face appeared, her grin widening. "You've served your purpose," she whispered, her voice echoing in my mind. "Now, you are nothing more than a ghost in this park, like all those before you." I reached out to touch the mirror, and my hand passed through the glass as if it were water. I stumbled back, realizing the horrifying truth. I was no longer alive. I had been dead since the night Lucy possessed me. Trapped in this ghostly existence, I wandered High Park, a silent observer to the lives of the living. The park, once a place of solace, was now my eternal prison. Lucy, the dark spirit, continued to haunt and deceive, seeking her next victim to possess. And I, now a ghost of High Park, could do nothing but watch, my soul forever bound to the darkness. The only way I could be freed was if I did what Lucy did to free her own soul. I had to murder someone and transfer this curse. But the thought of taking an innocent life, it was a fate worse than death. So I remain a silent warning to those who dare to enter, forever trapped in the shadows of High Park.